Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Josh's Poetry. And if you're new here, my name is Josh, and this is where I share my poetry and my reflections. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing two poems that connect in different moments in life. One about mental weight and hope, and the other about reaching a major milestone and stepping into what comes next. I'll read each poem in full first, and then I'll break it down by stanza. The first one I'm going to show you is called Bright Side. If you want to follow along, feel free. There are certain emotions that go through your head. Sometimes, where do they come from? Sometimes just laying in bed, just listening to the beat of a drum. You try to get out of bed, but just can't. You got bricks on your feet. It's just not a band. You just want to meet standards. Other expectations rise above all. You can't get over it. You're laying there like a car that had stalled. All these thoughts can't fit. But there's one thought that comes through the cracks that has fought its way from back to front, shining bright in your mind, clearing all the fog away. Finally, something so kind has come to stay. Let's break it down. In the first stanza, in the opening, it captures how emotions can feel random and overwhelming sometimes, especially when you're by yourself in your own thoughts. And it's like that drum beat, as I mentioned, it's basically like a loop going on, and you're overthinking and you're thinking over and over again. Like you're thinking about it way too much. Now in this next stanza, it focuses on the mental heaviness, and it's showing up like physically, like that second line there. It's like the weight that is bearing down on you that you can't move, you can't figure out how to meet other people's standards, and you're thinking about it way too much, and then you spend all your energy on that until you drop, which you cannot do. And now here the pressure shifts outwards, and other people's expectations start piling on, getting higher and higher, and that weight is continuing to get heavier and heavier. And like that stalled car, it's at a standstill. Like you can't move, you can't find your way. You're just no matter what you do, you can't get it going, and you just overthink, and your brain gets too filled up with ideas that you can't narrow it down and focus to just one of them. And in the next stanza, this is the turning point of all those thoughts, and you finally found that one that has wiggled right in your mind, and you can't stop thinking about it. And you finally get a breakthrough that you've been looking for all this time. And now in this final stanza, it means there's hope for you, and there's always a fix to everything. And the fog just disappears, and you finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, this poem is about acknowledging the mental weight honestly, while still leaving room for that hope and belief that you're gonna get to where you want. And now let's move on to the next poem, Another Milestone. Again, if you want to follow along, feel free, go right ahead. There is a time in your life you only live once. That is the competition of strife and hard work, even though it took months and months. You are finally able to see the light, what you have done through grit and determination, and see how hard you put up a fight, and now you enter inflation. The study hours, the constant papers, the towers of homework, the crunch of a stapler. The last chapter of your book has ended, but the second book has just started. It's like your life has just been extended, and the seas have parted. To a brighter future, to a better you, your life is no longer a suture. It's no longer immovable, now so much to do. Free like a bird, now you must go and explore, and let everyone know what you heard. It has opened a new door. It has opened up the floor to you. Go find your calling. It's your duty to go do what you do best. Now it's time to go do some hauling. All this hard work doesn't go unfinished. Go for the fadeaway like dirt, and then you will be astonished. Okay, now let's read the process and break it down. Break this poem down again. This opening stanza, it talks about reaching a moment that you never thought was imaginable after those months and months of effort and determination. You never let up. And that transitions into this next stanza actually. And now focus on realizing what that grit and determination got you and the result that you wanted. And it sets up the idea that those milestones are actually earned, and you can't rush them. And then this next stanza, it really digs deeper into those details. Like I said, the studying, the papers, and just the overall repetition of doing it over and over again. That's how you're gonna get your success. That's how you're gonna get the results that you have been looking for. Just rinse and repeat. Just keep going. Don't stop. Do not stop. And then this next stanza, the book metaphor is the heart of the poem, because there are multiple parts to your life. It's just not one straight line. There's always going to be times where you end and then you start back up again. This is just one chapter in your life, and now you've started a new journey, and finally there has been an extension and time to see that go through. Now in this next stanza, it represents the transformation and the struggle and the struggle that has changed the person who has went through it. If you've gone through something, that struggle can be a positive towards your life. Think about it as like if you hadn't gone through that struggle, you wouldn't be where you are at. And then now this next stanza, but like it represents the freedom that you now have after the structure and the pressure. There's finally a space where you can explore the idea that you've been holding up here for so long. And then that freedom, it turns into responsibility, and opportunity only matters if you act on that responsibility that you put on yourself. And then this closing stanza right down here talks about like your confidence and trusting your preparation in taking that shot, taking that chance. That it may go your way, it may not, and you will genuinely surprise yourself how much you how far you've come and how much you've done to get to that end point right there. There's always, you can keep going. You don't need to stop. This doesn't have to always be your end point. You can build off of that success. And now the overall of this whole video, um, these two poems, they represent different sides of growth. There's that surviving the mental weight and then stepping forward once you've made it through that struggle. And if either of these resonate with you, feel free to like or subscribe to this video, and I'll be sharing more of my poetry and breakdowns here. Thank you everyone for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.